Okay, today's video we're going to talk about a sequential coupon marketing strategy that you can use to increase the profitability of any incoming ad or other traffic coming into your e-commerce website, or it could be service as well, depending on your circumstances. What this actually is, to keep it simple and to give you a quick overview, this is when somebody gets to your site. Normally, most people don't even have a discount that shows up for people after they leave the site. You encourage them to come back. And the reason why you do that, assuming you delay a little while, which means that person wasn't probably going to come back anyway, is to encourage people to quit procrastinating. This is a high percentage of all the people who come to your site. Well, most people come to your site initially not intending to buy right then. So whether you get them back or not has more to do with your follow-up than what was done on your website initially. You do all this kind of stuff to bring them back to your site, one of which should be to offer them a discount if they buy sooner than later, because it gets rid of a lot of the procrastination. A lot of people have good intentions to come back and buy on payday when they talk to their wife or husband, whatever, but then they forget or they just blow the money on something else. While that, as a component to your overall remarketing strategy that you have in your business, will increase the percentage of people that you pay good money to get to your site in the first place, and that there only is so much, in-market buyers in your site or in your market to go after. If you take that discount and you break it up into several discounts, of which progressively get bigger the longer the time has been since they've gotten to your site initially, you will actually get considerably more sales out of that discount that you can follow them up with in a remarketing ad that shows up for them after they leave the site than you could if it were just one discount showing up for them and then that was it. Why? Because it builds greater urgency in the user than if just one single offer by itself, particularly based upon how you can frame it. Because you could say, last chance, XYZ off, versus 20% off for Valentine's Day or whatever. That in itself is a very useful tool that will increase your sales. But like I said, not as much as what we found in the case study I'm going to share with you here today, as much as actually being able to say, here's how much off you're going to get. And then if they don't buy from that, offering them a little bit more and a little bit more. And because, naturally it's going to get you a higher margin from the people that only a small discount took to convince them to finish buying, but then also gets people that wouldn't have bought with the whatever discount you had, but would have bought if you offered them a little bit more, which brings in you a little extra sales. So anyway, I'm going to give you a case study here of how this worked for a tool/workbench company, how we instituted it there, like what type of advertising costs we dumped into the showing of the banner ads that would show up for people after they hit the site from our Google, because we would use a Google campaign to drive them to our site, and then we had our follow-up remarketing strategy where we had testimonials, reviews, showing our product compared to the competitor, the leading competitors, all that, and a discount strategy thrown in there. How we went from a regular discount that would give them a 20% off to 10% and then 20% and then later on 25%, what the differences were in the ROI and the overall sales and the ROI that we got from doing the flat 20% versus the 10, 20, 25 staggered strategy itself, in terms of the advertising cost, of what it costs to get those offers in front of people, and then the effect, and then what each stage of this brought in actually. So with all that said, I will get into the first of all, quickly, how this works, how you should stagger your discounts if you want to be able to institute this into your business and get more out of a discount than normal. And then, of course, the case study itself, how the numbers came out when we did this for an individual company as well. This strategy we use all the time now. Once we found out how effective it was and how much it can do for us in addition to a simple discount, we're using it all the time now. So with that said, here's basically the recommended flow or strategy of how you offer a sequential coupon marketing strategy to your website. and your overall marketing strategy for your website and your products that you're selling or service, you want to do that. So what you're trying to do is get people to your site that are interested in your product, of course. From there, what you want to do is wait 7 days to offer them a discount. Why? Because there's a bunch of people that will come back within the same day and buy. Do you really want to offer them a discount then? If that were your only choice to offer it right away and then up to 6 months, I would still do it. But you're going to maximize your profit margins if you don't offer it to them instantly, as per what we found. But in addition to that, other things you should know, after 7 days, you should offer a discount, but not give away your full discount. Why? Because it'll build more urgency and demand from the consumer that sees that the discount goes up over time versus giving it to them all in one big shot. So what we would, and also, people that it's been 7 days are more likely to buy than the people that it's been 30 days since they've been to your site. So you want to offer them more to get the people that are harder to get back to the site than you do want to with the people that's been to the site more recently. It's easier to get them back to the site. It maximizes efficiency on both ends. So what we would do is wait 7 days, or what we do is normally wait 7 days and then have like a 10% off discount. On that 10% discount, we'll say this is like a second chance offer. You were interested in buying the XYZ toolbox or pain reliever cream. You have a second chance to buy this for 10% off. It's only good for a limited time. Here's your discount code. Okay? That'll bring in the most sales that you're going to get from your discount. Why? Because it's semi-close to the time they've been to the site. The longer they've been away from the site, the less likely you are going to be to get them back. From there, though, what I recommend is you take things and you wait another 21 days. So it's been a full 30 days from the time that the person's been to the site, and then that's when you break out the 20% off, because it's going to take a little bit more to get them back to the site. At that point in time, what you want to do is run an offer that says, this is your final chance to buy the pain reliever cream, and for that, we'll give you 20% off. The key, you should see the kind of overall theme to this is the discount isn't there for no reason. It's there to build urgency in the demand for your product. If you say this is your final chance to buy, we're going to give you, just a very limited time to buy this and actually get 20% off, that person's going to say, well, I was going to buy it next week, but I'm willing to buy it now because I might not get this 20% off next week. So you want to do that. That'll bring in some more sales. Not as much as the 10% off did earlier on, but like half as many sales, basically. You get everything you can there. If the person's been away from the site now 90 days, that's when you break out the final discount. That's going to get those stragglers. A certain percentage of the stragglers, you'll get about another half of the half again, and what I recommend is like a 25% off. Assuming you have a 40% product margin, you should be able to do that. It's better than getting no extra sales. It's a small margin, but again, better than nothing. And what I recommend you do there is to say final chance again, but you emphasize final chance. Final chance, exclamation points, big bold cap letters, have it in red this time versus, and before it was in black text. A black text color, and you get as many stragglers as you can. Now, and then after that, of course, you're going to run. So they've been to the site 90 days ago, and it hasn't been 180 days. That 25% off offer will run, and then at 180 days, no offer runs. You shut it off. Why? Because once it's been that long, it's too hard to get them back. You basically are wasting your money on this type of offer. It's just they're not in the market for the most part anymore, and it obviously does vary a little bit based upon the cost of the product, because the higher the cost of your product or service, if you're doing it for a service, the longer on average it's going to take for them to actually be ready to buy. So these time frames could change if you're talking about something super expensive like 5 figures or more. But for 4 figures, 3 figures, this is about where you want to be. So with that said, we did this for a workbench company. You could think of a company that sells a workbench similar to like a Snap-on workbench. And with that, we had a 40% gross margin roughly on the product, okay? Which means the cost of goods is 60%. And so that gives us, for every product sold, 40% of that is our gross profit margin, okay? Now, the advertising cost that we spent on each one of these stages, because we did basically the same exact thing I just explained to you here, of offering a staggered coupon marketing strategy that staggered and offered more based upon it being a longer time that they were away from the site and that they haven't taken advantage of these offers, which, by the way, I didn't mention it before, but as soon as they buy, all of this shuts off. So if they buy before the first 7 days, nothing ever gets seen. If they buy between 7 and 30 days, they only have ever seen the 10% off, and so forth. So anyway, with this said, the amount of money that we spent in advertising costs with Google Display Network, also with Facebook ads, which I recommend you do both. To advertise the 10% offer, we spent $40.81. The second offer, we spent $112.94. And the third offer, we spent $256.03 for a total of $409.78 to have the banner ads or Facebook newsfeed ads show up for the person. So it's not a lot of money, and that was specifically to generate, when we're talking about 100, well, in total here, to generate $25,000 in extra sales or 6.05K in extra profit when you take out the cost of the goods themselves and the cost of the discount. So basically $6,000 worth of profit on $409 worth of ad spend. That's like a 12-to-1 return. This is actually a really good return. Now, this is a lot of obvious work to get this set up in 3 stages. What's the difference that we found between, or what would be the difference between doing the 3-step tiered coupon marketing strategy versus just doing 1 tier? And that's exactly what I have laid out here as far as the numbers go. So what we did, well, we were previously just doing a 20% off offer that would just routinely show up for the person, okay? And, it would say, this month we're offering 20% off. It didn't say like Valentine's Day or, didn't give a reason for the 20% off, which I do admit that would boost these numbers a little bit. Anytime you have an excuse of why it's only going to last so long builds more urgency. But anyway, 20% off of that previous 30 days, we spent $378 of ad spend for that specific offer, remarketing to all the people who we advertised on Google search. And with that, during that previous month, we had $132,000 worth of sales. By offering the 20% offer, we got another 7% extra sales on top of that 132, which gives us 9.2K worth of extra sales. And then when you take the cost of the product, which is 60% of the sales volume, and you take out the 20% off from the sales volume, you're actually left with a gross profit extra in addition of 1.84K. All right? Now, with that said, moving forward here, when we break this up into 3 parts, like I was talking about before, what we end up having is a profit that's over 3 times as much. So this makes a huge difference, breaking this up into 3 steps versus just having the 1 step that I mentioned we started off with before. So that was a full month before we instituted this 3-step program. A full month after, what we did was, like I said, offered a 10% for a while, basically between 7 and 30 days. Then we offered a 20% between 30 days and 90 days. Then we offered a 25% between 90 days and 100 days. So with that said, okay, with what we ended up doing here on 187,000. So granted, this is only one whole month here. So technically, we have an apples to apples comparison here still, because this is just one 30-day period compared to the 30-day before it, right? Now, the 25% off, if you're wondering how this plays in, because it's only 1 month after, we had the remarketing audience we had pre-existing remarketing audiences that I always set up on campaigns, so that if we ever want to run remarketing campaigns, like let's say to a 90 to 180 day, we've already got pre-built audiences that are pre-populated with that. So with that said, during that following month, we were able to offer the 25% off to the people that have been to the site already for 90 days because we had the pre-populated remarketing audiences. Because you can't just set up a remarketing audience and, you know, it's not a retroactive audience. You actually have to wait to build that up. So I just wanted to clarify that up front. So the 30 days after here, we're using pre-existing audiences, but if they've been to the site within 7 to 30 days, we hit them with a 10%. If they were between 30 and 90 days, we hit them with 20%. If we were between 90 to 180 days, we hit them with a 25% here offer. Using the second chance, final chance emphasized for each of these stages. This is the model that we used here again as well. What this ended up doing on our so we had $187,000 worth of sales that are not connected to these offers, which brought in extra. So initially we had 132 sales the previous month, and then 9.2K worth of sales that were brought in from this 20% offer. We know because they used the discount code, of course. So when we talk about having the 3-tier discount, the 10% offer brought in a 13K of extra sales on top of the 187 that we brought in with, you know, that was brought in separate of this discount offer that would show up on a banner ad on Google Display Network, which is getting you on millions of websites basically that person potentially could go to after they've been to the site, and also on Facebook Newsfeed. We got an extra 7K to the 20% offer. Then we got a 5K extra amount. We got 5K extra off of the 25% off extra, 25% off offer and discount code. So what this actually ended up being was an extra $25,000 worth of sales. Now, when you take out from the extra sales revenue, when you take out the discount and you take out the cost of goods, the 10% off brought in an extra 3.9K worth of profit. 20% off brought in an extra 1.4K worth of profit. And the 25% off brought an extra 0.75K worth of profit. So for a total extra profit of 6.05K. So this 6.05K extra profit, when you're factoring out cost of goods and the cost of the discount, obviously we didn't factor in the cost of the ad spend, but the ad spend, $409.78, was similar to the ad spend we spent promoting the 20% off offer up here the previous month before we instituted this 3-tier discount system. So this ends up, the amount of profit, in other words, after cost of goods, after the cost of the discount, ends up being over 3 times higher than we had initially with just offering a 20% discount the entire month. And a good chunk of that, going back to what I was saying before, comes down to the fact that we didn't offer the 20% discount to people until they've been away from the site for at least 30 days, which gives us a much higher margin on the people that have been to the site within the last month. So like I said before, if you have only one discount and that's all you have, what you're going to end up doing is offering too much discount to people who would have bought anyway that's been to the site recently, and not enough discount to the people that have been to the site a long time ago to actually get them back to the site. So there's more granularity, specificity in what you need to offer to each person based upon how long they've been to the site, given that the longer they've been away from the site, the less likely they are to buy. Okay, that's the main reason why this profit here on the 3-tier system is over 3 times higher than what it was with just a flat discount one-tier discount system. So that's a big part of why this profit is 3 times higher than what it was up here. And so what you're going to do is get a higher margin on the people that were on the site within the last 30 days, and then you're also going to get people that have been to the site over 90 days ago that you just simply wouldn't have got with the 20% off, and then it took 25, if you follow my logic here. So, for practically speaking, in summary here, for the same ad spend that you have $378 worth of ad spend here promoting the 20% offer by itself, and then $409 worth of ad spend, or $410 worth of ad spend promoting the 3-tier discount system, you end up with $6,000 worth of extra profit versus $1.84 thousand worth of extra profit. So that's when you're talking about $187,000 worth of sales, which you still got to take out 60% for cost of goods, which means you only have about $60,000 worth of profit after you take out the cost of the product from this $187,000 worth of sales revenue, not tied to any kind of discount. And you have an extra $6K with the profit because you offered the discount trailing people and following people around after they leave the site. You actually have like 10% more profit than you had before by offering this 3-tier discount system in addition to whatever you're doing to get them back to the site that's not related to a discount, and just having that at your disposal in general. So 10% more profit obviously is not insignificant, considering, yes, it's a little bit more work to deliver more product at the end of the day there. Other than that, you're getting an extra 10% more profit. So if you're making 60 grand a month, now you're making 66. All you had to do was have this discount running in the background. Once it's set up once, you basically, because it's not tied to any kind of have to update the reason for the sale each month, which you could do to get even more out of this. You could, instead of final chance, you could say final chance for the month of July and get a little bit more out of this. But practically speaking, you don't even need to do that to obviously get this kind of jump in your numbers. And you set it up once, it's done. It just runs in the background. You get a few extra sales. If your operation's big enough, your staff's working a little bit harder, and you have an extra $6 grand worth of profit a month. That's 2 different Lamborghini payments every month, just by setting this one system up, which I could get this done in a weekend easily. So that's the overall system, if you will, to do a sequential coupon marketing strategy that you can add to any basic marketing campaign you have now that drives qualified traffic to your site to get more out of it. And to get more out of it in a creative way that you're just not simply offering one little thing. This same idea here that I talked about would also apply to email remarketing or retargeting, if you want to call it retargeting, because the psychology is the same. Why, if what most people do in email is they send them a retargeting message that they've been to the cart and they abandoned, and that's great and everything. But why are you not doing the same thing to people that have not been to the site for a week and offering them this thing? In fact, you'll get more out of this whole strategy if you do that in combination. There's some different tools out there that you can use for Shopify or whatever that will help you do this. So instead of just sending them an email, here's 10% off because you abandoned your cart, here's 10% off as a second chance because it's been at least 7 days since you've been to the site before, and so forth, and that'll help maximize. And it actually goes both ways. I tell people all the time at our firm that if you're doing any kind of email marketing now, if you do that and you mirror that in terms of your banner ads and your retargeting ads, you'll 10x the amount of money your email marketing is doing. Why? Because people may not see email, they're guaranteed to see your ad. So if something will get your customer list or people that have been to your site to respond here, it'll have 10 times the potential when you can have ads show up for that person across the web, making sure they basically are going to see it, considering the banner ads cost like a penny to show up for somebody who's been to your site. So it makes, in other words, no sense not to do email retargeting if you're doing banner ad retargeting networks, and vice versa. And if you're doing email targeting networks, not to do that on the banner ad and ad retargeting side. So it's another little bonus tip. But anyway, this is where people don't really think about little stuff like this when they're running an e-commerce business or a service business. If you're adding that to, you want to do this for a service business, that makes all the difference in putting yourself in position to scale your company, because this is only 10% more profit that your operation would have from the existing advertising and all that you have coming in. It doesn't seem like a lot, but what it does do is it gets you one step closer to being able to scale your ad spend more. There's a lot of things that are open that you can't do right now because it's too expensive for you to do, considering your mouse traffic, if you will, on your website that you have set up is only so efficient. You get 10% here and 10% here and 10% here, you end up getting another 50% more revenue from the same traffic you have coming in. What that'll actually translate to, if you're assuming you're profitable now, is probably you can 200% increase your ad spend, because generally that's how it works. So if you were able to be 10% more efficient on the back end, you probably can raise your ad spend 20% on the front end and still maintain the same ROI that you have. That's generally how things work out. So instead of just people always are trying to figure out, how can I get more traffic to my site? It's not, and that sometimes is the way to go, but more often, once you hit a bottleneck in your growth, it's to go back to either your website or your follow-up sequence that you had to market to current customers or people that were on your site, and figuring out what you can do there to get more of a conversion from the traffic you got. So then you can come back to the front end where you're driving traffic to your site, and there's more opportunity there. You've opened things up for yourself. If you just focus on how to get profitable traffic to the site, you're going to hit a roadblock at some point and you're done. You're not going. There's only so much cheap qualified traffic in your niche. So what I always do, and I run several e-commerce businesses, once I hit a roadblock and being able to just buy more traffic and get an ROI that's at the minimum ROI that's acceptable to be profitable to our firm, we're just going to go back on the other side, the efficiency side. What can we do to sell more to current customers, and what can we do to convert at a higher rate? And we're going to keep working on this until we get some gains. Then we're going to come back to the traffic side, the new traffic side, and open that up again. And then, and opening up to where you can spend more on new traffic, that is the easier thing, which is why people go for it. You just only can do so much when your system on the back end to capture a customer is only so efficient. Your front end traffic is only going to be as good as your back end is monetizing the traffic. So this is just one technique to do it. And I've got lots of other techniques on this channel. I mean, cart abandonment, we were just talking about that. You can run a cart abandonment ad. If they hit the cart, you can offer them 5% off to be able to check out right now, because people have good intentions to come back. That'll actually get you more sales than if you didn't offer something to people who abandoned their cart, because people that say that they're going to come back, only like 20% of them do, which is why you should want to accept a lower margin on a customer that you can convince to come back from a cart abandonment ad than not have the discount available and just assume that they're going to come back on their own, and that's the best way forward. If not, we know that just having done what we do at our firm on an ongoing basis. And there's lots of just small, tiny stuff like this. And I also talk about remarketing in general, doing a comparison between your product and the leading competition's product, and then putting that into remarketing ads, and then driving them to a video that compares your products together and explains why it's better. Nobody does this, and if you put yourself in the buyer's shoes, how do you know which one to go with? Well, if you invested to do that research for them in your niche, of course they're going to go with you at a higher percentage of the time now. And it costs a penny to have them aware of this information once they've left the site, in terms of having a banner ad show up for them, showing them that a video exists that compares your product versus all the main other options in the niche. We do this kind of stuff all the time. And so there's a great many things that are available to you that aren't just speculative, but they're guaranteed to get you more sales out of each person coming into your site. It just takes work to put it together, and only thinking about dumping more traffic in, you're going to be limited. And then what people generally do at that point is they say, well, let's start another business. I've got this scaled up as far as it can go. And that's also like dumb, because when you run more businesses, they're all going to be run half-assed, basically, is the way I see most people. That's how it ends up. I see people do it all the time. You're much better off taking one business, figuring out how to make the mousetrap more efficient that you have, than to start another business to try, because you can only scale the front-end traffic so much. So anyway, with that said, I'll wrap it up with that. If you have any questions about anything I said today, leave me a comment below. I get back to every single person who leaves me a comment on this channel, usually within a couple days' time. If you have any ad-related questions, feel free to ask. I'm more than happy to give back to my viewers here as a way to, just say thank you for watching the channel and helping the channel grow. If you like the content on this video, I have a ton of other content just like this on this channel about how to make millions of dollars with online advertising for your business. And this is coming from somebody who just does ad strategy all day long for my clients, and giving you the working strategies as well as the strategies to stay away from because they don't work. And most of the people on YouTube are full-time YouTubers. They're not ad strategists. They're not actually in the trenches doing the work. Therefore, you can't rely on that information. So if you want real information, this is the channel you want to pay attention to, so therefore you should subscribe. With that said, I also have a blog at guaranteedppc.com/blog where you can also find information for myself in written form. And if you like my channel, I promise you, you'll like my written work even more. I also have a column over at entrepreneur.com if you want to follow me there. As a side, if you are looking for an ad manager now or in the future, this is exactly what I do for clients. We get our clients more results, and we do not charge fees if we can't get you more results on your campaigns up front. There's no catch other than we got to know we can get great results with your what you're doing up front, and we can review potentially working together and estimate how much sales results we can get for you if we can get you results. All you need to do that is simply reach out to me at guaranteedppc.com, and I'd be able to give you that free assessment to see kind of where we're at and see what the potential is with what you're doing. I'd be more than happy to hear from you on what you're trying to do with your business. As a side, if you're not looking for an ad manager, you want to work with and shortcut your way to success, there's an alternate workaround that I can offer you, which is we've worked in over 100 different markets at this point in time in the last 10 years at my agency, of which we've worked in your market before. We just are operating in a different geographic area, different country, whatever. You could take what we've developed for your industry already and then just copy paste our templates, ad templates, campaign templates, landing page templates into your ad account and get the same results we are without any of the work we had to do to figure out what works in your industry. If we've worked in your industry, it would be completely stupid not to take us up on our offer of using those templates. And we can tell you the results you're going to get with those templates before you even use them. So it's a one-time fee of which you would know what turnkey results you're getting with the templates before you even purchase them. If you're interested in that, you can also reach out to me at Guaranteed PPC. I'll let you know if we've worked in your space. Even if we have not worked in your space, if you're looking to start another business, starting with a winning template in a market that we've already done ads in, that's the easiest way, literally speaking, to start a business. Of which we've got people starting lead generation businesses with the templates that we have and selling leads and everything else. People starting e-commerce companies that they weren't in e-com but they wanted to be, and they started with our template and it worked great. So if you're interested in that, you can also reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to tell you what results we've got in various markets you might be interested in. But I'll wrap it up with that. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you on my next video where we have another great strategy for you then.